So this is Juju, and it is day 8, and I'm here with my backpack. So the last 2 days I spent in Salinas Valley Prison, which is a level 4 prison, and I was in with the program Alternatives to Nonviolence. And so I did 2 12-hours a day, 7:30 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Saturday and Sunday, and 10 hours with the men in prison. And this was my first time doing the program, and I am completely sold. Now you see where I am now is at the Pinnacles National Monument, about half an hour away from the prison. And after the intensity of being inside and the everything that was shared, what I need to find my joy is to be out in nature. And so this week has really, I've met all my values, which is gratitude, joy. Now I'm doing some nature bathing, love, felt a lot of love when I was in prison, and service and justice, and definitely a lot of service, and justice. So I want to talk a little bit about my experience in the level 4, because this was a different kind of experience, because you were in there I was literally in prison for 24 hours. In a little area, there was a room, then a separate area for the men's bathroom. Staff had a different hallway that they could go down. And we stayed in that room. It wasn't that we weren't able to come out for lunch or, for the men to have a cigarette. You were in that room unless a guard came and let you out. And it was before the program started. There are 2 yards. I was on the C yard, and there's 2 yards, and there was concern because there's 2 different sides, and usually the one side does not get programming. They're more violent there on that side. They have a group called the Bulldogs, which means if you're a bulldog, you're dedicated to fight. You have to fight. We were going to have some bulldogs coming in. We were going to have people from different areas. We were going to have, different races. And so there was a little bit of, there was, I think, 6 incarcerated facilitators and 2 outside facilitators, 16 men and me. So it all, I don't know if that all adds up to 25. Somehow there was 25 of us. And when the men first came in, there was definitely some caution and, boundaries up, guards up, what's happening here, we're all in this room together. And 24 hours later, they were hugging goodbye, bonded, friendships, community built. This program builds community, it builds communication, it's focusing on nonviolent and transformative power. And I saw it in action so often. My heart was full. And I was just a participant, just like any of the other guys, So it was, you break into small groups. I'm not going to give too much away about the curriculum, because you need to experience it. It's very well thought out. There's one-on-one where you're just talking. There's deep sharing, and then they lighten it up with some fun and some games and some skill building exercises, and then some theory, and then breaking it up. So but it's a lot of fun. And to see these men let down their guard, and they all talked about it by day 2. For them, they couldn't wait to get back, because this was a safe space where they could actually be themselves. They didn't have to worry about prison politics. They didn't have to worry about, all the violence out there, about getting knifed. A lot of them talk, it's an extremely violent environment where they are, and strict rules. You look at somebody the wrong way, you disrespect someone, you could be killed for that. And this is such a different vision. And so I saw all of these men coming out as change makers, trying to take, because thing is that they are so hungry for this program. They need this program. Someone said, well, you were saying that, they should not have canceled, the programming because those guards were hurt. Well, it's not that everybody can get this programming. There's a deep need for it. And then when it is offered, to cancel it as a punishment is just part of the punitive rather than solution seeking part of it. So a few other thoughts about prison. The food is terrible. I've heard, so I had dinner. I brought my own lunch and we had dinner, and a lot of the men won't eat the food. If they're fortunate enough to have people from outside who can put money on the books, they're very creative in terms of, I saw them, I saw some prison cooking and creativity while I was there. They were cooking up burritos and, just taking things from the commissary, and not necessarily healthy things, but it's healthier than, I don't know if it's healthier, but it's tastier than the food that they were brought. The first day, I didn't realize that I had to bring my own fork, so I ended up eating with my hands. There was a little bit of salad, no dressing, chicken, beans, kind of cold carrots chopped up, a cake with no icing that was tasted like sawdust. The next night, it was like this mac with some kind of meat. It was just like a half of a salad, and my piece of bread was torn in half, and the butterscotch pudding. I was okay with the butterscotch pudding because you can't go. That's pretty hard to mess up. But the food and talking to the men about the food. But that creativity is something that happens in prisons and in jails, because you've got people without resources that have to survive and make the most of it, and they've got time to figure out how to do it. So I watched how they take apart a crock pot, a hot pot, use the burner and then a cup to, that's their grill with a pie plate. The way they make taffy, I had some prison taffy, which is Coffee Mate creamer mixed with Kool-Aid and then a little water and then put between sheets. And it actually kind of tasted like taffy. For these guys, it's a real treat. So I just want to say I'm definitely going to go back for this program. I haven't been in all of the conferences when I was working to spend 10 hours together in a room like that. And those were long days, how after lunch you're tired, but they stayed engaged. They were so proud of themselves, so happy to get those certificates, and they're working so hard to try to live these principles. They really took it to heart. So my heart was so filled. These guys. There was one man, who looked like such the typical gang member that you'd see in the movie, the bad guy in the movie, and then to see how he just opened up. Then a guard came in, and it was like putting on, they talked about putting on the mask. It was like putting on a body armor. His whole body changed, the slouch, the attitude, the protective gear that you have to wear when you're in prison. But this weekend, and they were so sad, they were like, they did not want this to end, and they talked about how after the first night, going back to their cells was so hard. It was like coming from a peaceful, heaven to hell. And I realized, in the exercises we're talking about, okay, name a violent, something that's happened to you, violent interaction, conflict, and how you could have handled it differently. I don't have violence in my life. I live in that room, in a peaceful room, and to think and be exposed to people who have never had that opportunity, who have been incarcerated since they were teenagers, it blows your mind and opens your heart. So it may not be something that you ever thought about, but I would encourage you, and again, like you say, lock them up, prison, do a little work in prison and see the waste of potential that we have here. And there's so much better way that we can do this. So have a great day. Lead with love. This is Juju of the Tutu Tribe, unfiltered, unscripted, There's another unedited. None of my videos are going to be edited. I'm just putting them right up. And have a fantastic day.